Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the back room at the Jointed Queue. We're just starting, we're in progress and just started our fifth round robin one pocket tournament. 8 players from the Sacramento area battling it out. $100 a man. First place 600, second 200. And we'll talk more about the round robin later. This is Bart Mahoney. I'm going solo today. My good friend and fellow commentator John Henderson had to take an unexpected break in the action, and he'll be back soon. He's also hopefully going to be doing some of the U.S. Open one pocket commentating this weekend. But more on that later. So right now, let's get on with the action. We're in progress. I did miss who won the first game. This is the second game between Shane McIntosh and Robert Aldana, a couple Jointed Queue lifers. They've been here since they first picked up a queue. And although Robert grew up over in West Sacramento, he under the tutelage of John Avalos, was one of the top players in the Sacramento area back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And Robert picked up a cue, and it was Johnny that started helping and show him the ropes. Pretty good three-cushion player, all-around player, rotation, big power stroke, a lot of knowledge. Got a real nice group of players today, too. We're trying to keep them, relatively balanced. You can't get 8 perfectly matched up players, let alone you really can't even get 2. It takes a while to figure out all the different characteristics in their game. But and then Shane McIntosh, he works here at the Jointed Queue, got the day off today, and first time he's played in quite a while. But they both played pretty good the first game. I did not see who won that game, so when we do update the score, I will know what that is. Right now, so going to the action, Robert really lucked out not having that ball not scratch on him, so he does win the second game. And Robert's got 2 games. I just saw on the wire, so we do have an update on the score. Robert Aldana is leading Shane 2-0. When we're done with this match here, we'll switch over. We have Jermaine Lazaga and Chic Melson playing on table 15. That's our other stream table. So we'll move over there if and when is necessary. But right now, we're just going to stay with these 2 guys and hopefully see Shane turn it around a little bit. He was in the game, the first game. That game seemed to get away from him a little bit. I thought he shot a good safety, but he came with the next shot and scratched. Allowed Robert to shoot a spot shot, and like I say, he almost scratched but didn't. I think it's Shane's break. Well, if he's racking, it is his break. And that's important. They're racing to 3. First to win 3 games. Right now, as Shane's getting ready to break the balls, depending on where he places the cue ball and strikes the rack, there's only a few different breaks that players use. This one's the most common. And here he's just trying to graze off the head ball, the 1 ball, get more of the 5 ball, let the cue ball come to the bottom rail. He's choosing the bottom right-hand pocket. So you'll see these balls have all gone to the bottom right-hand side of the screen you're looking at. And then you can see how he's kept that ball up near the rail for Robert to have to take his first shot from. That's basically just to make it more difficult for Robert to be able to get on the bottom of the cue ball and do any more advanced type cueing on the cue ball. Now, the cue ball did get too high up the table. Getting past that side pocket isn't necessarily what Shane wanted, because Robert can see that 13 ball. If it was a little lower on the table, he wouldn't be able to see it as well. And you see there, Robert's attempt is just to kick the 13 back into the 3, move the 3 a little bit closer to his hole, Robert's hole being the opposite bottom left-hand corner. The other ball pockets, for those of you who don't play one pocket or know the game, the other pockets are all neutral. If an object ball is made in any of the other pockets, they just simply spot up at the end of each player's turn. If the cue ball goes in any pocket, it is a foul, and they would have to either, if they have balls that they've already made, they would have to spot a ball up for each scratch. There's a nice attempt there. Good cue ball. Everything looks okay. And it's the first to make 8 balls in their pocket. So if you ever have any questions or anything, just ask around. It's a chess game on cloth. And there's Robert just banging those balls out and trying to get something over to his hole. He's pretty successful. And pretty much that's what Shane's going to do, is return, just knocking that 13 ball out, keeping the cue ball here somewhere close to Robert's corner. It's one of the old basic understandings of this game, is that if you can keep the cue ball near your opponent's pocket, essentially they're shooting away from their pocket, as opposed to having balls in front of them where they could shoot those balls to their pocket. Sometimes it's pretty common to see the player leaving the cue ball near their opponent's pocket, so they're not able to shoot anything to their pocket. It's kind of a safe place to be, unless there's balls that are bankable, or caroms in the rack, billiard shots in the rack, something like that. That's a nice little kiss shot. Kind of moves it back over. It gets kind of fun watching. Sometimes they get stuck on that. Just moving them back and forth to their pockets, they kind of might miss out other little things they could do. Robert doesn't really have to worry about this 13. At this point, it's not that close to Shane's pocket. The 3 ball is kind of looking interesting. It is bankable, where Robert could bank it into the stack, and there's a couple balls in there, the 6-12, the 8-10. They both are directed towards Robert's pocket, so if that 3 ball banked in and maybe caught a good part of the 2 ball, but he's choosing a safer route. He's just going to play off the 13 and get the cue ball down underneath off the 11 underneath the 13. Didn't hide it. So this is where Shane can get a little bit of aggressive here if he wants. And be a little bit careful, but for the most part, he needs to get that cue ball on the other side of the rack, get the cluster of balls where the balls were racked between him and this 13. Now, I suppose he could shoot. He might be able to get that 13 to come off the bottom side of the rack, maybe catch that. I just can't tell from where I'm at. But he might be able to get it to come off that 9 and bank back across the table to his hole and maybe follow the cue ball forward. It's pretty tricky, but he's doing something like that. He's looking to bank the 13 ball. That's right now. It's almost like he could just be sending the cue ball down table, or in this case, up table. He's going to look at the 11, maybe to two-rail it out back into the stack. The only problem is that 13 is just sitting there. Could be an easy bank if he doesn't get that cue ball in a good spot. Oh, he got a good, yeah, he hit that pretty good off that point. That came out pretty nice. He just banked it with just enough to get it up the rail enough to cross back over. Now see what he's done. He's used the rack as his blockers, and he's got that cue ball right back to almost like a break shot. That's kind of where he wanted to be on his original break. Robert's going to make him go long. Shoot this 14 because he can't do much else. He's got to get it down low enough or behind the rack where Shane can't see that 11 ball. Now Shane's got a perfect shot here to bank. I think it's the 15 ball. He's not even looking at it. Up above the 1-3 on Shane's pocket side of the table, he could send that 14 ball 3 rails back around and just stop the cue ball right there. He's not even looking at it. He wants to make something happen out of this rack, which is fine. Sometimes though, just make sure that cue ball gets real ugly in that mess. Keep it messy. I think Shane only made one or just a couple tiny mistakes. That first game, I was surprised that it was Robert who won it. The second game, there was a couple mistakes that's very costly to Shane. See there, you see it didn't do as much as it could have. And then the way those 3 balls are now by Shane's hole, see that's what Robert's looking at. How much of a threat are they? And he can actually almost send that 8 ball back to his hole, bank that 8 ball back to his hole, try to get the cue ball, have to cross over. A little tricky, but he could possibly do that. If not, he's probably going to just try to get that cue ball, maybe play it off that 13 and play that. If he can see either the 11 or the 13, get in underneath that 14 ball, but he's going to do that first one that I talked about. He's just going to use those other balls over there as blockers and wait for another shot. Now, see, I'd probably look at that 8 ball real good, maybe send it just 1 rail. Just bank it 1 rail down into those 3 stripes by Shane's pocket. I mean, he could shoot. You can see that 3 ball. I don't know. He might be able to just shoot that 3 ball past the 11, between the 11 and the side rail, and just see if it doesn't feather on down to the pocket. There's the 9-10 combo. I don't think that, unless that 2-4 is wired or something, I don't think there's any frozen combinations in the rack. Not from where I'm sitting. And I got a good view. I'm sitting up on the top back part of the stands. If you've never been here to the Jointed Cue, this is a fan's delight, a spectator's it's like at a theater. All these seats came out of an old theater, whether it be. He didn't want to make that ball, but it didn't really hurt him a lot. He's got those balls over by his hole. Yeah, this is a spectator's delight. If you want to watch good pool in a live environment, there's about 90 theater seats in here, all been completely restored. Very, very comfortable. You can sit here all day without having any, back problems, neck problems, knee problems. Even though we all have, at least us oldest folks, we got the little aches and pains. These are pretty comfortable to sit in for hours on the edge, at a time, at the edge of your seat, because these matches, it winds down. It gets pretty tense. You can feel the energy of the players just having to really dig in and really pay attention to what each and every little shot means. The slightest mistake in one pocket, again, you only got to make 8 of the 15, the majority of the rack. So you only have to make 8 balls in your pocket. Shane has the bottom right. Robert has the bottom left. I will remind you of that periodically for those that don't play one pocket. It's very, very, very important to stay aware. The other thing that can happen too, you get used to watching a player shooting to one pocket from game to game. Every once in a while, the player will switch pockets, and they'll change their break. They'll take the other pocket. So you're not designated for the set to have one or the other. It's each break determines which pocket you're shooting to. So he wants to get distance. He should be trying to get this cue ball up table. If there was some way he could get it up behind that 8 ball or back into that diagonal corner, the upper left corner. But see, he's kind of killing. I guess he better roll forward a little bit. He needs blockers. Don't bring it back. Yeah, that's a good shot. Now, I would suspect Robert can't really, unless he can get to that bottom rail, but that's not even that safe. I think he could actually pick off that 8, let the cue ball go over into the 10 ball, maybe get the brakes put on him and send this 8 ball back to his hole. By keeping a ball near his hole, it keeps Shane honest, even though Shane's done a pretty good job of getting things in his court. Robert can still keep it a little bit edgy for him. That doesn't do much, but at least it buys him another day. Now I like right here, Shane's got a golden opportunity. He's not going to do that. He's going to shoot that 13. He's feeling like, well, I better get going here sooner or later. I can see this ball. But boy, he could shoot that 10 ball into the corner pocket and roll that cue ball up underneath that 15 ball, that straight ball at the top right-hand side of the table. He's not going to do it, but that's something to at least look at. He could make that real ugly for Robert. But if he makes this ball, he might get 4 or 5. See how he does. Yeah, overcut it. And that's probably from just not playing too much. It didn't really hurt him. That's one thing I say about playing one pocket. Shoot. When you don't play rotation anymore, and you don't have to make every single ball you shoot like you do in rotation, then play one pocket. You don't have to make them. Just keep them close to your pocket. He's going to break these out. He's just going to shoot them all, and yeah, he didn't work. That's called a oops. So Shane can get right back in this match. Now, what Shane's supposed to do here, he's got 6. He can make 5 to 6 balls relatively, they're available. I won't say easy. Right now, if he's going to shoot that 11, because it's right there in front of him, he's got to get the cue ball down and underneath. If there's a way he can just get on any good side of the 4, 13, or the 9, then he can go from there. It's just one shot at a time. John always says, treat each ball, when you get open like this, you want to make balls, but treat it as if it's the first shot stepping to the table, meaning there's no reason to rush. He's taken his time. He's done a good job in this rack. He's got the balls there, even though they're kind of even right now between the pockets. He's in a really good spot to make some balls here. So if he does that, he can make 2-1 in the match, and a race to 3. Until you have 3, this match is not over. See, I got it up and over. And then he can shoot the 8. He can shoot the 8. He can come up and maybe hold it for the 9. He's got a lot of room here. He's just going to kind of stun kill this 8 ball across the table. He could even, I suppose he could even go forward and let the cue ball hit the 4 to put the brakes on. See what he does. I'm going to check with my IT person for a quick second. Please stick around, folks. I'll only be 1 minute. All right, so I've been given a clean bill of computer health here, and we do have one small, just a little working box on the YouTube channel, which has all been a work in progress. They're doing great and helping John and I. We are the non-computer generation, and we learned enough of it through the end of our through and up to the end of our retirement. John being in insurance, me being in construction, but to try to learn all the new ways is just kind of get to a point in your retirement you just say, "How phooey on it," I got a phone that does just about everything. But back to the action, we got Robert being kept honest by Shane. Shane is looking very, very prepared to win this game. He's got the bottom right-hand hole. He's left Robert in an ideal spot diagonally with no balls to his pocket or available. Robert's going to just push this 4-ball onto his side of the table, which is a good move unless, it knuckled up on that 6. Not ideal, but pretty much the right shot. Shane has just got to find a way to keep control of this table. He has it, and I think he's ahead in the ball count. Ball count will be easier to keep track of when there's more than just me in the booth. I mentioned earlier John's had to take a little break today, and hopefully he's up and at his streaming responsibilities with the U.S. Open over at Pool Action TV down in Griff's in Las Vegas. And this here today is another one of it's the 5th series of our one pocket round robin tournaments that these players are just absolutely loving this. It's a 1-day, $600 for first, $200 for second payday, $100 buy-in. We'll be done about 7 o'clock this evening. We're just in round 1. Shane McIntosh and Robert Aldana going at it. Robert's got a 2-0 lead. I just got my mouse back so I can actually change the scores now. Uh-oh. Oh, magic. Robert wants to push that 1 down to his hole. I don't know if this, unless he can get the cue ball down underneath this 13 on the right side of your screen. That's what he's trying to do. He got it there, but I don't think that was too productive. I would expect Shane to go ahead and bank that 3-ball back to his hole and let the cue ball go down to the end there. He's not really able to hide the cue ball. He might be able to let that cue ball cross over and go down near that upper right-hand corner and get messy with that 10 and that 6. I think that's a worthy shot. I don't know what he's looking at there. Maybe to kick into the 1-8. I don't see a lot there. Seems pretty easy to get that bank. That's an easy ball to bank. He can draw it back into the stack. He can maybe draw it back enough to where he just gets underneath the stripe that's over out in front of Robert's hole. Yes, that's a pretty easy bank. He didn't make it, but now see Robert has no choice but shoot the 14 into the 3, make that ball, and start over. Hi, Jay Miles. Sorry, I'm not able to keep up on too much, but nice to see you. Thanks for chiming in. At least I know people are hearing us out here and watching these guys battle this match out. We got Randy Walker over here dealing with Tony, and then we got Chris Romanotto and Kevin Cibart. Kevin came down from Chico today. Jermaine Lazaga battling it out with Chic Melson. That's on the other streaming table. We finish this match before the other match. We'll switch over there before round 2. Round 2 will start about 1:15 today. We have a 2-hour time limit on these matches. They are racing to 3. I want to get the guys to get as much play time in as they can. This is there's a lot of benefits to these round robins, just in how it gives them a chance to yeah, see, Robert's going for big shots there. He does have the 2-0 lead, but it doesn't really mean anything in one pocket. Yeah, see, that worked out for Robert. That 3-ball. He owed a ball, so he had to leave that 3-ball out. Yeah, I don't know what he can do here. I think Shane can just put him right up table again and bank that 14 back to his hole. He wanted to shoot the 8, but then there was a 3-ball had to spot. And that blocked the path for the 8. He didn't hit it good. He knew it. He wasn't happy. As soon as he hit it, he wasn't happy with it. So now Robert's got a pretty easy bank on this 4-ball. Bring the cue ball up, probably to shoot the 3 next, and go from there. Yep. That's too bad. Just like that. Should be able to just follow forward, get something on that 1. 8 should come out relatively free. Probably just straight draw. I don't know if he needs to break those balls out or not. I wouldn't. Apparently he did. Didn't get enough out of it, but he at least got probably 1 more ball. 15-8, the 7. Yeah, he didn't hit that the way he wanted. Now looks like he can bank the 13, but must have miscued a little bit. He overcut it. All right, Shane, you got another chance, buddy. Come on now, you're running out of chances. Robert's got the lead at 2-0. You want to get at least on the board right now. And he's straight in on that 7, so you might not be able to do a whole lot. If you can straight draw it, you could shoot the 5 or the 2, depending on the angle he's got coming back. It's always good to walk around and look. Even though we're on a time limit, there's no hurry in one pocket. All these guys are very used to taking their time. If they aren't used to taking their time, they're not going to win a lot of matches, because most one pocket players take at least a little bit of time before shooting anything. Now from there, he almost wants to go into this 13. Make the 5 and go into the 13. He has to shoot the 5. But going into the 13, he at least maybe gets a chance to come out to where he can, maybe bank that 8 ball or do something else next. But getting that 13 out would be good. That's all right. It's all right. He made the ball. He's still got control. Now he's just got to send the 8 ball up table and draw the cue ball back on this short rail. Just bring it down to the bottom rail. You say bottom rail on your TV screen. Normally, we call that the, well, everybody's got their own. I don't know what everybody else calls it. I'm just saying bring it back to this bottom rail. It's like that. And Robert's really not going to chance it by moving that 8 ball a little bit over on Shane's side. There's no place for Robert to really do much with it. Robert's probably just going to play off the 9 and bank the 9 over to his side of the table and send the cue ball down by the 6. There might be a 2-railer in there, but see, if he doesn't make this, if he doesn't make it, he could sell out a bank for Shane, and that's what Shane wants, is a chance to get back in it. He hit it with enough speed that he didn't sell it out, but he did give up the bank. It must have caught the pocket and slowed it down. That thing had a lot of speed coming by. I couldn't see past Robert from where I'm sitting. Just let the cue ball come to the middle of the table, no further. It's a good shot. I think he can see the 9 okay. Or maybe not. But he shoots the 9, he can just come back across, maybe bank the 14 next with the cue ball on the top rail. And leave the cue ball up there and maybe even use the 2 ball. Make the 9. That's the first part. Cue ball comes back across the table. Try to get a good angle on that 9. Even straight in on the banking angle would be ideal. Oh, he's going to 2-rail it. What? That's a sporty shot. Nice try. Yeah, so he couldn't see it. Robert should just bang this out. Probably go underneath it and just kick it out. Leave the cue ball there and in his end of the table. His side of the table, his corner. Oh, we just make words up. If they work, if they don't make sense, we'll correct them on the next shot, hopefully. He's going to try to get this to his hole. He's got to be a little careful because that cue ball is going to go in the smart shot. Smart shot. But that cue ball not being on the rail means that Robert can go ahead and stroke this and just try to do a stop bank. That straightforward, just bank the 14 back, control your cue ball, don't have to hit this one firm. Good pocket speed will pay dividends. That you should be able to get these guys the way they play, by the way, Robert and Shane both have excellent mechanics. Their stroke are honed for pool, and whether it be one pocket or 9 ball or whatever the game may be, they have excellent mechanics. Stance, posture, head position, arm position, stroke, knowing all the bridges, everything else. These guys are have groomed their games very well. If you want to know what you're supposed to look like, either one of these guys, mirror their style, and you'll do very well by using it. Pocket speed. No, you got a little bit creative there. Not bad, but I think Robert can cut this 9 ball to his hole without too much trouble. Overcut it. And then Shane's should just knock that 9 ball away. Just bank it down there by the 6. Maybe leave it somewhere on the end rail, the top of your screen. Leave that 9 ball up there, and then bring that cue ball back here to this, back to the short rail. Bring the cue ball back to where it is right now, sitting. Or he's going to send the 9 across and put the cue ball up table. He just doesn't want to be doing any flirting with a poor angle. Yeah. Let's see, that's twice now, though. Shane has had a relatively easy shot to move the object ball and leave that cue ball on that bottom rail, but he's let the ball come out, 3-4 inches. That allows Robert to see how he can dig right down into the cue ball. That doesn't do much. That actually is not a very good shot. Shane can just draw this over a little bit. Doesn't really have to do much to it. He can just bump into the 14, shoot the 9 next. He's got a couple banks to shoot here if he wants to. Two rail the 9. 1-2 back to his corner. A little bit high on the pocket. Oh, it came close though. Shane's just got to get that out of there. I kind of get the feeling that Robert's got the lead in the rack, but I don't know for sure. It's pretty much a straight follow with a little bit of speed. Should leave the cue ball, just kind of leaves the cue ball there in Robert's hole or near his hole. Yeah, see Shane, the cue ball just being a little too loose. I mean, it can cause you immediate trouble. He looks to me like Robert can bank this 14 just, and I guess he doesn't want to. Looks to me like he can just shoot the bank, use the 2 ball as a blocker, and then, yeah, I wouldn't shoot the 2. He's going to 2-rail the 2 over to his side, and yeah, he can make it. Hit it pretty good. I guess he feels like he needs. No, I think the ball counts in Robert's favor. Shane really looked like he wanted to shoot those balls that are in front of him, and that's tough to do, but I have a feeling that Robert only needs 1 or 2 balls. 1 ball, if it's only 1 ball, it should be without hesitation. Get this 2 out of there. No. See what happens. It's not too bad. I mean, it could have been worse. Robert's got a little bit of an angle. The 2 ball is cuttable. They're giving me a little extra entertainment here. I got the Masters up on the big TV screen up above these tables that you're watching or viewing on the stream. They have a couple, I don't know, 60-inch, 70-inch. I don't know how big them things are. Looks like the golf ball's as big as the pool balls. Yeah, he just doesn't want to shoot this 2 ball in and follow it in because he's going to sell out the 14 and the 9 if he does that. Now he's looking to bank these. I guess he's just going for it. I don't understand what situation he'd be doing this in. Yeah, Robert needed 1. Match Aldana. Shane, you fought tough there, kid. You fought tough. So we're going to switch over to the left table now. And we have let's see. We have Chic Melson shooting, and we'll soon know which pocket he's shooting at. Chic has the bottom left-hand pocket. Jermaine Lazaga is the shooter, and he has the bottom right-hand pocket. He's going to try to bank that ball over. I have a great view here. I can see both tables better than I can see in the monitor. I'm as the crows fly about 15 feet from the tables, maybe 20 feet from the table we're viewing now. And they're just doing the same. They have a different type game going on. They've got all the balls up table. They got 11 balls on the table, and they got all of them, 8 of them are above the side pocket. Chic needed to hit that one a little bit. He knows the speed. He knows the speed. Chick and I met in this pool hall. I walked in here in 1970, and him and I played a lot of one pocket together. Love that guy. He's a great, great, great guy to have around a pool room. A lot of knowledge. Excellent mechanics. You watch him. He shoots. He's very still. He has a little tendency every once in a while to just get a little anxious as he's letting go, and he might move a little bit. Uh, Shane and Robert, they stay pretty darn still. But Chick's got a little chance here to put something down to his hole. Yeah, he wanted to make that. Yeah, he wanted to make that ball. So Jermaine's going to bank that across to his side of the table. He's probably going to hit it pretty firm. Yep. That way he kind of stiffened that angle up. It was a little, as on a piece of paper, the geometry of that angle, the balls wouldn't work in that path, but the physics of the table and the way the ball is grabbed by the rail's just, I forgot what the exact height of the rail is, but it's above half of the ball. So in physics, it's going to be deadened slightly. The roll is going to be removed. The natural roll of the ball is going to be removed a little bit, and that causes what we call stiffing the ball. It'll stiff. It'll shorten up. I don't know why stiff, but that's what everybody said then, and we're still saying it. It just means it comes up a little shorter of an angle. So you put enough speed on it, you can shorten it up even more. The more firmer it goes into a rail, the more it's going to shorten up the angle. Chick's got himself in a good spot here. He's moving the balls around. He's got everything working for him. They're all in Jermaine's favor too if the cue ball was on the other side of the table, but it's not. So right now, fortunately, that 3 is blocking the 12. I don't think Chick's going to do too much with this. He's probably going to push down over there by the 9 maybe. No way, he's looking at the 14. That's an awfully tight angle on that ball to try to bank it. Unless he can see the 11, I suppose, but those are tight angles he's looking at. Sometimes you want to do something, but you don't dare do it unless you don't like your money or have something else to do on the rest of a Friday afternoon. Yes, Derek. Yes, you're exactly right. He's just really into aiming. I don't know if I've ever heard it quite that way. I think what you're saying is that he's really focused. All these guys are really focused. They're all good players. All of these guys are good players. And this one pocket, the amount of one pocket we're starting to play around here, everybody's getting a good dose of it. It's just a great game. Great game. It's a good shot. We needed to get that 11 ball a little closer to his hole, but he's got blockers. If it was closer to the hole, Jermaine would have a lot of problems right now. Jermaine can move this 4 ball over by his hole, keep a little pressure on Robert. You can see how they're both using the blockers there too. One sec. Yeah, I have somebody taking care of this frozen screen. Thanks, thanks, Henry. The 23rd, we are definitely got you in for our 23rd senior event, Walt. We have Tim Cummings and Mike DeWeese. Oh, there we go. Yeah, might check that focus tab. Yeah, we have 5 players already signing up for it. I'm going to make a few more calls. Lee Wallach, if you're out there, I'll be getting in touch with you about the 23rd of April. And I don't have my spreadsheet today with me, but we have over 70 players in the pool, so we have the luxury of going through and selecting some pretty well matched players. The seniors, however, we're all seniors, so we're all equally matched. We're all feeling the same pains. Last night, Kentucky and I, we were chatting with John and his little bumped hip, and we were just comparing whose leg cramp was the worst last night when we were trying to sleep, and Kentucky won that game. All right, 1 second, folks. I'll be right back. So we're coming up on our hour and 45 minute, about 5 more minutes before I say anything, but we do have the 2 hour time limit. They are playing races to 3. Our first stream match between Robert Aldana and Shane McIntosh, they were able to finish without any problem. But we still do have 3 matches going, so all 3 of these matches I'll put on notice in about 5 more minutes, which will give them a 15-minute time to get it wrapped up or under control. I have to watch real carefully. We don't want anybody stalling just because of the time limit. And John, if you're out there listening today, buddy, I miss you. I was expecting to miss you today anyway with the U.S. Open commentating that you were going to be doing. So to the rest of the folks, I'm blaming him. He's the reason we can't do everything here. We've got to keep ball counts and everything else. And Katie's been a great help. Katie DeMonte, owner of the room, with her husband Sean and also Francis Rita. But just keeping all of this together has been challenging because we've been putting this all together just like the room. When they signed the lease last May, we were on it. Shane McIntosh, Lawrence, Sonny, everybody just getting this place back in one piece again for us to come back and start playing our pool. It was a rough go for everybody having to leave this place and For a lot of reasons, a lot of people didn't think it'd ever come back, but here we are. Okay. Round 2 will be starting in about 20 minutes. We're going to be going with we're going to have Chic and Randy on the main table in round 2. Jermaine and Tony. Actually, Robert and Chris. And we're going to go Robert and Chris. Gentlemen, you have 15 minutes. So I just gave them their 15-minute alarm. Jermaine and Chic just started their 5th and final game. Scores 2-2. So this is going to be a good battle. Jermaine just made a ball, but he did scratch on the break. So they're both tied, and I'll be able to keep track of two. Yeah, I'll be able to keep track of ball count now too. So they're both even. It's 0-0. Yes, Jermaine just made a ball. His pocket is the bottom left-hand corner. And now he's actually taking a little bit of a chance. He might have to change his strategy a little bit. And see what Chic does here. But now the ball that he made, because he owed one, he has to spot it up. So the score is 0-0, ball count 2-2 in set games. Oh boy. I'm sorry, folks. This thing is, for whatever reason, this is not a good time to do that. One sec. Yeah, so everything's going along fine here, except if Chick can see that 15, he's got a chance. He's got a big chance. They've got about, they just gave him their 15-minute time warning. They've got about 10 minutes left. And that's enough time for Chick to make a ball or two. We have two other matches going. They're both on time limit also. And the way the matches go down, the winners of each round are collected in their own group. If any player in their own group, they each are going to play the other three players in their group. 4 players per group. The other 3 players each play a match. If anybody in a group wins all 3 of their matches, they automatically go to the finals. But we can have ties, in which case there's 1-game playoffs. I'll explain that if it comes up. It's happened twice. We've had 2 playoffs in the first 4 events. So today, we'll see. You know, this little time limit where I'm letting them go to a race to 3, but still with a 2-hour time limit. And right now, like I say, we've got 3 matches in the first round still going, and they're still trying to make balls. So it seems like You can kind of tell just by who's being the most aggressive is who's behind in the match. I think Jermaine is up just one ball. There's only one ball been pocketed, and they're tied 2-2 in this match. And we're still having a little freezing problem here, aren't we? Sorry about that. Well, let's see if I can do it. On the fly. Four, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Still one ball down, and I believe it is Jermaine. I believe he has the lead of one game. We have 5 minutes left. A little added suspense to your afternoon. Especially these guys who are trying to battle it out to finish off this round one. These wins are big. And here he's taking a little time. He's in a tough spot. I have to kind of watch and see if he's taking too much time. I don't think he's stalling the match, but you know, he's got to still be able to take the time to think out his shots. Right now, Chic, he's got to just keep things moving along. Bump that ball into the hole and leave the cue ball down there in the corner. Bump the one ball in the corner and leave it there. Wow. That's a big shot right there. That's a big shot right there, Chic. The way he shot that with that ball hanging in the hole like that. So Jermaine's got to look it over and be careful. He's got to be real careful. He's going into those balls. I don't know if he needed to do this. Yeah, I don't know if he needed to do that. I mean, he was okay. He was okay, but this is tough. 3 minutes. This is real tough. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. You see what happened here, folks? He got a little bit careless at the wrong time. Jermaine had the lead, and here comes Chic. And I'm sitting up here with the clock going, oh, man. 2 minutes. Yeah, Chic might have just won the match. Jermaine, you can see he's not happy, but boy, he really slipped on that. I kind of got caught off guard there. I didn't think he was looking at that. Take too long, Jermaine. You got less than 2 minutes here. Jermaine, you got 1 minute. You hit a pretty good shot right there. Yeah, and I think Chic's leading this game 2-1. He just made 2 balls. It has to be 2-1. Chick's going to shoot the bank. This is real dangerous here. He's got the lead. They don't know how much time. They know they've already been given the 15-minute time limit. But yeah, this is looking like game here. And I have to wait until everybody's in between their balls, their shots. Tony's running to make balls. Time. All matches stop. What's the score? What's the score? Yeah, what's it, 2-2? And what's the score on the ball count? 2-1. I got 2. Chick wins. Guys? Chris? Kevin? Yeah. You got it? Here? Randy? Got it. All right. Take a 5-minute break. And
I wondered why Tony was running.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't run on him, and I got you guys over here, both of you guys. I knew you guys were real close, but I got to go on the time. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, take 5 minutes, and then I'll call you next matches. Okay. Good matches too, you guys. Hey, I've had more fun watching that first round than all of them. I've had a great time. It's cool. Very cool. It's a long ways from over so. All right, so Chick gets that match.